Welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to be building an Android application using Windsurf. So we'll also be using Android Studio. So we're going to build it in Kotlin with Android Studio, or setting it up with Android Studio, and then using Windsurf to actually build the application. So to get started, you will need to, or to follow along, you'll need to go to codium.com/windsurf and download and install Windsurf Editor. And then you'll also need to make sure you have Android Studio. So go to developer.androidstudio.com/studio. And of course, you'll have to have an Android account and get all that set up. Then you can download that. Once you have that downloaded and installed, we'll just go ahead and open up Android Studio. So if you don't have it open, you can just go into Spotlight and type in Android Studio and open it up. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and click on New Project. Okay, so we'll need to choose what type of project that we're going to be using. Now we are going to be doing an empty activity. If you choose no activity, you don't have any you won't have any files created, so it's just blank, completely nothing. We want an empty activity because it sort of gives us the bare bones to work with. If you're going to be integrating AI into your application, then you probably want to go with Gemini API Starter. If you want to have a template set up already, so if you like the add button here and you want the backspace, the back button here with the kebab menu and this header up here, then you can choose that. If you want the bottom tab menu, you could go with this one. If you want just the header with the backspace and kebab there, and of course for the side menu, you could go with this. And then this would be a great option for a responsive application. So if you want the same app to work with a tablet or a phone, and orientation, when you change it, it responds according to the size of the dimensions of the device you're working on. If you're going to build a game, or if you know C++, of course you could go with this route. Again, we're just going to go with empty activity. Now we're going to be going with Kotlin. When I first started working with Android or building Android apps, I started out with Java, and then Kotlin became popular. And now they're using actually a framework of Kotlin that's become popular called Jetpack Compose. So if you're familiar with frameworks, if you're familiar with, say, JavaScript, then you're familiar with Angular, React, or Vue. Those are frameworks. PHP, you've got Cake PHP, CodeIgniter, Laravel's the most popular one now. Of course, with Python, you've got Flask and Django. And then other, of course, you also have libraries. So libraries like jQuery, and some argue that React.js is a library, but I'm not going to get into that argument. Anyway, let's go ahead and just go with the empty activity, and we'll go forward. We're going to create a simple to-do app, so I'm just going to title this to-do, and the package name we'll just. Obviously, if you're going to want it's going to be just like with iOS. You're going to want your .com, your company, or your web's URL, your company, your name, whatever you want to put there. So for testing on Android, it's not as strict as iOS. I'm just not going to mess with it. We'll just let it default to Android Studio projects, the location. We'll go with Android 7 Nougat. Now, the newer the option, or the newer version you choose, the more features that you can use, but the fewer devices it can use. So if I go with 15, literally 1% of devices are going to be used. So like we had 7 Nougat here, and we've got 97% of the devices. If we go all the way back to 5, then we've got 99.7 percent of devices, but you got way less features. So Nougat is a good sort of, it gives you a lot of older devices, especially for a simple app. That would be the way to go. But if you want to know more about it and you want to look into different options, just click help help me choose, and you can kind of decide on the app that you want to build based on what you read there. So for the build configuration language, we are going to go with Kotlin DSL. Groovy DSL is for for hippies. So if you are a love child from the '60s tripping on LSD, then obviously this is the option you want to go with. Fortunately, I am out of acid right now, so I'm going to go with the more modern, newer Kotlin. So Kotlin gives us honestly, this option gives you more options for newer options. So you can work with, for instance, the Jetpack Compose and whatnot. So anyway, if you're building with, just go with Kotlin unless you know what you're doing. It's recommended. So we'll just go ahead and click finished. And so now it has built the sort of bare bones. Since we went to empty, we just got an empty project, so there's nothing built here except for it says hello. And so if we go ahead and run the app, so if you click this little triangle play button here, it'll open up an emulator, and we've actually got an error. Interesting that it's already created an error here. Let's just restart this and see if it's giving us an error. Issues, dependency, core requires a little library. It's Android X Core 1.5. Let's see. I'm gonna update and restart it. I didn't have the latest version of Android, so let's just go ahead and restart it. Okay, so it is installing or updating Android here. So let's give it a second here, and I might pause the video. Nope, looks like it's done. So good. Okay, so now that we've updated everything, let's just go ahead and see. Okay, so it's component Android platform. Let's go ahead and update. Let's go ahead and run your updates. It's best to really to do this before you build it, but it's good to have this in the video. I haven't worked in Android in a few months, or a few weeks, I should say. So start the APK upgrade assistant project update recommended. So this is good. We'll just let it. Tell you what. What instead we're going to do is we're going to close this down. We'll just terminate it, and I'm going to open up Reveal and Finder. Actually, I'm just going to delete this completely. Remove it from here. Going to remove it from here. Move to trash. We're just going to start over. So I'm going to click on New Project. Again, with empty activity. I'm going to call this To Do Nougat or Kotlin. There we go. Okay, so here we got the application. It's importing the Gradle project, so it's getting everything set up. And I'll tell you what, while it does that, let's go ahead and open up Windsurf. So Windsurf, there we go. And let's go ahead and open up To Do. Click on Open. See how this is looking. Let's see if we get errors when we run this. Go ahead and run the Okay, that's good. It's a good sign so far. Okay, so anytime you open up a simulator or run a simulator or emulator, it does take a while. Let's go ahead and check on our code here. So with Windsurf, if we're going to be using Write, so Write with Cascade to actually uh, edit the app and create the to-do application that we're wanting to create. Again, as I've mentioned in other videos, if you want to just chat, you can use chat, and then you could just ask questions or ask questions for the AI to kind of prepare yourself for that. If you want to get a good prompt ready, go through and ask questions, narrow down some things that you want to be able to do, and then when you're ready to actually go with the process of building out the application, go into the write and then put in your prompt here. So, for instance, I'm going to say, please build an Android application. We'll say an Android to-do application. And we'll keep it super simple with that. So let's go back here and look at our, so we're still getting errors here. Let's go ahead and see if this will correct it. Let's go ahead and click send. I'll create a modern to-do application using Kotlin, following Android best practices. Let me first check the app level. So it's going through, making some changes. Hopefully it's resolving the issues. It's going to update dependencies. So it's going to use a database for local storage. That's nice to see. Converters for local time. It's creating a view model. The UI component using Jetpack Compose. So Jetpack Compose is the framework that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so finally it's updating the main activity. Error Cascade will not create the files that already exist. Okay. Update the main activity to use to-do application. Enable local date time support for Android version API 26. Interesting. Okay, good. All right, so I've created complete to-do app. Okay, supporting all these. Material design, that's a great, I use material design, so that's really nice. Use that in many apps. The data layer, okay. UI, application, very good. We can add new to-dos with title and description. Oh, wow, it gives us title and description. Mark to-dos complete, incomplete, delete, individual, clear all, completed, to-dos, and view created. Now you can run the application. Let's accept all, run the application, and it will provide a fully functional to-do application with a beautiful Material 3 design. Let's go back to our Android Studio. Let's right click here and do a restart. And okay, let's see if we can do this with no errors. Gradle build running. Nope, we got the errors here. So, let's just see what Windsurf says about these errors. Okay, so it's dependency issues here. So let's see if it's able to resolve these. And this is why you really want to make sure you got everything up to date. So let's see if it resolved it. Let's go back. Let's do a rebuild again, or restart. Just going to leave all of this in the video because I want you to see realistically this is what you have to go through. And again, we have unresolved reference here, so it is still not correct. So let's see if we can. Copy these errors over. I think that's good enough. Let's just go ahead and send those through and see what it does with that. It should resolve the compilation errors. We will see. Let's just restart. Sometimes the longest part of working on an application, and I'm seeing some error issues here, requires level 26. Currently, minimum is 24. I wonder if that's because our device. Let's build and see if we get an error. Okay. Let's see if we can create a new app. So we'll just call this to do one test to do one. Go ahead and click add. All right, that's working. Okay, we can check it as complete. We can uncheck it. We can delete it. Okay, that's good. So let's go with to do one. Let's go test one, add. Go with to do two, test two, add. Okay. So we've completed that. What's the X do? All right. So, well, was that? Yeah. So that was the completed one. Let's just go test three, test, add. So if I complete to do one and then click the X, it clears all the to-dos. So this is working. So that's good. And I think the issue is that, like for this, I would highlight this and then go through and then find what it's saying the issue is, copy that, and then go back to Windsurf and just, make sure you have all issues resolved before you want to take this live, before you build your actual app. And then once it builds without any errors here, if you click this right here and then pull this up, you can see the errors. So we're still, we're getting this API level 26, and you could go to chat and ask it how to resolve that. This video is already 20 minutes long, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.